The red and blue lights just flashed in your rearview mirror, and your stomach just dropped into your shoes. You're sitting in the driver's seat of your truck right now, staring at a cop shining a flashlight in your face. You're trying to figure out if your whole life is about to crash down. Or maybe you're watching this video the next morning, holding a crumpled piece of paper that says you were arrested for a DUI. A DUI, which stands for driving under the influence, is the criminal charge you get when the police think you were operating a vehicle while your brain was too impaired by alcohol or drugs to do it safely. Take a deep breath. We're going to walk through exactly how this machine works, step by step. We're going to look at the exact sequence of events that happens from the moment those lights flash to the moment you're standing in front of a judge. I'm not going to tell you what to do in your specific case because every single situation is wildly different. But I am going to explain the playbook the government uses against you so you know what's coming next. First, the very first move in this sequence starts on the side of the road. It usually begins with something called reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion means the officer has a specific, articulable fact that makes them think you're breaking a traffic law. Maybe you were drifting over the center line, or you forgot to turn your headlights on, or you tapped your brakes for no apparent reason. The cop pulls you over for that traffic mistake. But once they get to your window, the investigation changes completely. If they claim to smell alcohol, or if they see glassy eyes, they'll ask you to step out of the car. That's when they hit you with field sobriety tests. Field sobriety tests are those physical and mental exercises cops use on the side of the road to try and prove your brain and body aren't coordinating properly. They'll ask you to walk a straight line heel to toe, or stand on one leg while counting out loud, or track a pen with just your eyes. You need to know exactly what these tests are. They're designed for you to fail. They're completely subjective. The officer is just writing down whatever they think they see, and they're building a case against you. Remember, this is education, not legal advice. Laws vary by state, and rules change constantly. You need to consult a licensed attorney in your state for guidance on your actual situation. Next in the sequence, the officer makes a judgment call on that grabble. Based on your performance on those roadside gymnastics, they'll likely ask you to blow into a handheld breathalyzer. This little plastic machine is called a preliminary breath test. Its entire purpose is just to give the officer enough evidence to arrest you right then and there. Many people mistakenly think that if they blow under the magic number of 0.08, the cop will just let them go home. That rarely happens. They'll just change tactics and argue that you're impaired by drugs instead of alcohol. If the officer decides they have enough proof, the next phase begins. The arrest. They put you in the back of their cruiser. You won't be driving your truck home tonight. Your vehicle gets towed to an impound lot. An impound lot is a heavily guarded, expensive parking garage run by the city or a private towing company, and they'll charge you daily storage fees to hold your truck hostage until this legal mess gets sorted out. You'll usually be driven to the local police station or county jail for booking. Booking is the formal administrative process where the police take your mugshot, fingerprint you, and put you in a database as an official criminal defendant. Then comes the mandatory critical step at the station. You'll be asked to blow into a much larger desktop-sized breath machine, or you'll be asked to give a blood or urine sample. This is called the evidentiary test. Evidentiary simply means it's designed to be used as solid evidence in a courtroom. This is a massive legal crossroad, and it's a trap for the uneducated. If you skip town, that bondsman is coming to find you. But for lesser first-time offenses, judges often release people on their own recognizance. Release on recognizance means the judge lets you walk out of the jail for free, based simply on your written promise to come back to court when you're told to. Once you're out of jail and trying to get your license back, the next step is dealing with the prosecutor. A prosecutor is the government lawyer whose entire job is to secure a criminal conviction against you. They'll review the police reports, the breathalyzer results, and the video footage from the cop's body camera. If they feel their evidence is weak, they might offer you a plea bargain. A plea bargain is a negotiated deal where you agree to admit guilt to a lesser charge to avoid the absolute maximum penalties. For instance, they might drop the DUI charge down to what's called a wet reckless. A wet reckless is a reduced charge of reckless driving that specifically notes alcohol was involved. It carries fewer mandatory penalties and looks slightly better on a background check, but it still counts against you heavily if you ever get arrested for another DUI in the future. If you refuse the deal, the next step is preparing for trial. A trial is the formal courtroom battle where a jury or a judge looks at all the facts and decides if the government proved your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the absolute highest standard of proof in our entire legal system. It means there isn't a single logical explanation for what happened other than the fact that you committed the crime. This is where your defense attorney earns their money. They attack the cop's reason for pulling you over, they challenge the sloppy way the field sobriety tests were given, and they question whether the giant breath machine was properly calibrated and maintained. They dig into the maintenance logs to see if the machine was spitting out false high readings. If you lose at trial, or if you take a plea deal, you face the sentencing phase. This is the final step. Sentencing is when the judge officially hands down your punishment. A first-time DUI in America almost always carries massive fines, mandatory attendance at expensive alcohol education classes, and a lengthy probation period. Probation is a specific time frame where you've to check in regularly with a government worker, pay monthly supervision fees, and submit to random drug and alcohol testing, all while living in constant fear of making a tiny mistake. Depending on the state and how high your blood alcohol level was, the judge might also mandate an ignition interlock device. An ignition interlock is a mini breathalyzer that gets hardwired directly into your car's dashboard. Your car will absolutely not start until you blow into it and prove you're completely sober, every single time. Depending on the exact circumstances, a judge could also sentence you to active jail time or weekend work release. Work release is a very specific jail program where they let you leave the actual facility just to go to your job, but you have to drive straight back to the cell block the minute your shift ends. And don't forget about the hidden financial sentence. Your auto insurance rates are going to skyrocket. High-risk insurance is incredibly expensive. You're going to be paying that premium penalty every single month for years. What happens if you get caught driving while your license is technically suspended for the DUI? That kicks off an entirely new sequence of criminal charges. You can't just ignore the system. If you drive anyway and get pulled over for a broken taillight, you'll be arrested on the spot, your car will be towed away again, and you'll owe thousands more in fines. The government is relentless. This is exactly why navigating a DUI without a professional guide is incredibly dangerous. You wouldn't try to rewire the electrical system in your own house without a licensed electrician. Don't try to navigate a criminal courtroom without a licensed defense attorney who knows the local judges and prosecutors. I'm going to ask you a very specific question. Think about the busiest night of the week in your town, when you know the local police are heavily patrolling the back roads looking for traffic violations. What single shortcut or back road do you always take to avoid sitting in that heavy traffic? Let me know exactly where that hidden route is down in the comments below. If this breakdown gave you a shield for your next conversation with the legal system, send the video to a coworker or family member who might be panicking over a recent traffic stop. And make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the exact playbook before someone tries to use the legal system against you.